Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. I'm your host, G.I. Wingnut. Welcome back to my channel. This is the final episode of how Trump rescued Scientology from the deep state, allegedly. That last word's mine. All right, so let's get on into this. What exactly is an SP, a sociopath? The lack of understanding what the definition of a suppressive person is astonishing. There probably should have been two isms in there, but anyway, because LRH himself created an extensive course in which one learns to distinguish a sociopath from an ordinary person. There are 12 characteristics that identify one. Ultimately, one can recognize them by their fruits. The sociopath, called SP or suppressive person in Scientology, is characterized by a lack of conscience. He could have recently murdered without conscience and still sleep well. He may take into account that murder is forbidden and therefore severely punished, and is therefore intelligent enough not to do it without reason and preparation, but the act does not torture him. Any other person, on the other hand, already worries about much smaller offenses which may not even be punishable, because one naturally adheres to the golden rule: don't do to others what you don't want them to do to you. So, if a group manager is asked to dismiss 10,000 employees in order to make the new balance sheet look better, then it's better to hand over such an, quote, ungrateful task, end quote, to a sociopath. He wouldn't care, and he'll still get a good night's sleep. Let's see, Department of Government Efficiency, cutting a whole bunch. Anyway, just thinking out loud on that one. If you're keeping up with current events here in the end of 2024, you're aware of the whole Elon Musk connection on that one. Anyway, moving on. Why the Church of Scientology is going down the drain. Although Scientologists are very aware of this SP issue, and an SP declare, an expulsion, is only allowed when the sociopath criteria are met. The majority of suppressive declares over the past few decades are done to people who were not sociopath, i.e., individuals who decided to step away or ask the wrong questions, and they ended up getting shunned by their families because you're not supposed to do these things. Plain and simple. I don't know what my image browser there, or image viewer there, is probably doing crazy stuff. Anyway, so Scientologists are aware that management is using this power and labeling anyone upset with the church as a sociopath. As a result, they don't dare speak up against it for fear of being excommunicated. It's a fear tactic. Anyway, because of this widespread violation of the integrity, Scientology has gone down the drain. All the safeguards to prevent such abuse, which I think it means abuse, which were created by LRH, have been eliminated. And this sounds like a complaint of this other group that talks about how the deep state has eroded everything. Interesting. These parallels are crazy. The power of Scientology, the power in Scientology today is exercised from only one place. All those who want to stay must bow. Thus, it is also accepted that Scientology technology is botched, Hubbard's guidelines ignored, and Scientology's high goals betrayed. One hopes for better times, but how can they ever come if no one is fighting for them? However, you can't crawl up the bridge cowed in a suppressive church. You can only walk it upright while respecting the ethics and integrity. Oh my goodness. Summary and opportunities. Dianetics is the most basic and effective technique developed by LRH after the Second World War. All further Scientology research builds upon this foundation. If one destroys this base, one has destroyed everything that Ron recognized, rediscovered, and developed in his life. This research into the mind and the potential of the mind naturally collided with the interests of the self proclaimed elite, the nobility of earlier times, the money aristocracy and their vassals, finance, politics, military industrial complex, state religions, mass media, secret lodges and secret services, and the deep state. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I've heard this so much over there in that conspiracy theory community I no longer belong in, no longer hang out in. Good grief. I still keep dropping information on them though. Moving on. This cabal has been exploiting humanity for thousands of years, keeping people down, suppressing all resistance. The kind of resistance that Dianetics and Scientology can offer. Spiritual laws, insights, and procedures that Ron has developed and given to us so that we can free ourselves from the mass psychology manipulation or psychological manipulation of the cabal. For they have used religious indoctrination, propaganda, and even brainwashing since time immemorial to program us into obedience and submission. There has always been effective enlightenment against this. Buddha, Jesus Christ, Socrates, and in modern times, many philosophers and scientists, exceptional people who were defamed and even murdered for their help to humanity. That reminds me of conspiracy theories I've heard of what happened to that guy that came up with that water-powered dune buggy? There's all kinds of theories around that. Anyway, moving on so we can try to finish this up. Ron Hubbard, Freudian slip maybe? Ron Hubbard, his Dianetics, and Scientology were attacked by the deep state from the first moment. Yeah, Agent Jolly. Anyway, moving on. And according to available information, Ron was probably captured in mid-1972 with the Dianetics and Scientology organizations gradually taken over. Open confrontation by the deep state couldn't be risked, for the Scientologists would have reorganized themselves immediately. Instead, a hidden takeover and revision of Hubbard's writings was carried out over a period of 14 years. Most Scientologists didn't immediately notice this gradual manipulation. Much like a magician who distracts his audience with one hand while carrying out his deception with the other, and as the September 11 terrorist attack in New York can still deceive many today, so does this new management deceive many Scientologists. But the truth is gaining ground, both on a global scale as well as the small. So I just want to interject here real quick. This time frame that this author is referring to would have been the time frame that Mike Rinder would have been put in charge of the Office of Special Affairs. Interesting. So we got a quote here. You can fool all the people some of the time and some of the people all the time, but you cannot fool all the people all the time. Abraham Lincoln. The cabal and the deep state are currently under heavy fire. The mass media are rushing against U.S. President Donald J. Trump because they are observing that he is destroying the artfully established global system of domination and wants to keep the U.S. out of military excursions around the world. Okay, sure, believe what you want. There is renewed hope that humanity will free itself from a totalitarian system with its drugs, compulsory vaccinations, chemtrails, drones, artificial intelligence, mass surveillance, and combat robots, and the complete enslavement of humanity. Oh my God, now he sounds like Alex Jones. Didn't Alex Jones just, yeah, Alex Jones just recently lost InfoWars. It got bought in an auction by the Onion News Network. Oh, that was funny. Anyway, moving on. Dianetics can play its part in winning this fight for freedom. With it, we can undo MK Ultra, rebuild fallen people, and make discouraged people courageous again. Overcome fear, confusion, and hatred, and send fighters to the world who cannot be brought down again. Real clears and OTs. Oh my goodness. Rebuilt fallen people. How is he going to do that? Is he going to use those new age med beds or theory, whatever? So they don't exist, right? Moving on. White Dianetics, a gift for you. White Dianetics and White Scientology are a real gift. I can do no less than recommend them to everyone. Study the original data. Do not trust the interpretive secondary literature. Stay away from the modern fake version. Their sophisticated deceptions are very subtle, but can be revealed through careful study of LRH's written and recorded materials by keeping one's own independence and love of freedom. Oh, wow. Okay, so that's straight up Q stuff. Anyway, moving on. Although I've been through a lot, I don't want to miss any of these experiences. I'm clear and OT, awake and happy and indestructible. I grant everyone the same freedom. Oh, how generous of you, good sir. Okay, moving on. Make up your own mind. Before you make a judgment about Scientology, Dianetics, or L. Ron Hubbard, you should at least listen to The Accused. Read the original book by LRH, like the Dianetics book from our publishing house. Then you'll know what we are talking about. Everything else is gossip, distraction, and oppression. Ha! Do your own research and check our materials. So cute. Anyway, don't miss the chance to become clear and OT. Yeah, get the inside scoop. Don't read the Dianetics book. Don't, okay? I haven't even read it yet. I've tried to listen to somebody else read it out. It is just wild. I can't deal with it. It hurts my rational brain. Yeah, the author says, read the Dianetics book carefully and clear up any misunderstandings that result mostly from misunderstood words. Okay, so that's word clearing. He's talking about word clearing. And what he means by that is go to your dictionary and look up the word and make sure that you understand the context with all the different possible definitions of every word, especially the misunderstood word, to get the real message. In other words, you have to decode it. It's like decoding these drops, these breadcrumbs, as they're called by a certain community. Anyway, finishing off. Then you too will have the power to change your life for the better. You will not regret it either. Warning. This book is a condensation of the untold story behind the U.S. government's takeover of Scientology, series number 3 of Scientology Saved from the Claws of the Deep State, an in-depth investigation of the analysis into this matter of about 600 pages, and part of the 12-volume series dealing with the true background and technology and of Dianetics and Scientology. So the next time someone contradicts these findings, refer them to this work. All actionable proofs are there. See ad on the last page. So let's see. I got this publishing program thing. If there's any of these pages you want to stop and take a look at, I recommend against it. Doing any research on it, but if you want to, go right ahead, but I suggest that you research it through the filter of ex-Scientologists. So we got the publishing program, the free Dianetics edition. We've got this Scientology, Saved from the Claws of the Deep State, Volume 1. We just finished book number 2, which I thought was rather interesting. And then we got this untold story behind the U.S. government's takeover of Scientology. There's all the information there. And now we have the back cover. Behind Scientology's current notoriety lies the untold story of government cover-up, CIA infiltration, and a secret hostile takeover. In this book, you'll discover a history kept from the media for 50 years that's more intriguing than the Scientology scandals used to keep it hidden. Step into a world where out-of-body travel, remote viewing, telekinesis, and extrasensory perception became a teachable technology. A technology so powerful it threatened the balance of the Cold War and prompted American three-letter agencies to stop at nothing in order to have it for themselves. Find out the real story behind what happened to Scientology for it to become what it is today. What really happened to L. Ron Hubbard in 1972 when he stopped making public appearances, and how President Trump is setting the story straight. You know, I've never heard Trump talk about Scientology, although I do know that he's got a lot of Scientology money in his campaign coffers, or has had. Let's see, are we using this opportunity to turn the tide? The author and computer engineer Andreas M.B. Gross is living with his family in Zug in central Switzerland. He reached the highest levels in Scientology, which is OT8. That's the same level as David Miscavige and Tom Cruise and Grant Cardone and Lena Cardone and Marisol Nichols, just to name a few. I'll just leave it at that. Let's see. Is an opinion leader in the field and has trained up to Class 6 auditor. So, dude's high ranking. Well experienced. He should know what he's talking about, I reckon. But he doesn't, because he's part of a cult, like some other people I know. Anyway, I'm just going to leave that as my opinion. If you've made it all the way through this playlist, thanks for hanging in. That means that you are hungry for information. You are hungry for a different perspective on the world and maybe some insights into some of the background stuff that may or may not be going on. Anyway, the world is full of interesting perspectives, and I think it's rather interesting when I can find stuff that parallel each other. Comparative cult studies. Scientology versus that 17th letter. Anyway. Just remember, folks, mental health matters. Take care of yourselves. Check you on the next video.